Wysteria, energy, twister. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Now we're going to head into the category of the Fairies of Britany. Whatever the origin of the race which conceived the demonology of Britany, and there are indications that it was not wholly Celtic, that we are the province of fairy bears, unmistakable evidence of having been deeply impressed by Celtic imagination, if it was not totally peopled by it, for its various inhabitants act in the Celtic spirit, are moved by Celtic springs of thought and fancy, and possess not a little of that irritability which has forced anthropologists to include the Celtic race among those peoples described as sanguine bilious. As a rule, they are by no means friendly or even humane. These Faeries of Britany, and if we find beneficent elves within the green forests of the duchy, we may feel certain that they are French immigrants, and therefore more polished than the, let's say, native spirits. And they have some very strange names indeed. Broch Eliande. Of all the many localities celebrated in the fairy lore of Britanny, none is so famous as Broch Eliande. Also, maybe can sound more like a bell, like Broceliande. A far fairy chime in the twilight forest. In the name Broceliande, there seems to be gathered all the tender charm, the rich and haunting mystery, the remote magic of Britanny and Breton lore. It is indeed the title to the rarest book in the library of poetic and traditional romance. I went to seek out marvels, said old Wace. The forest I saw, the land I saw. I sought marvels, but I found none. A fool I came back, a fool as I went. A fool I went, a fool I came back. Foolishness I sought, a fool I hold myself. Our age, even less sceptical than his, sees no folly in questing for the beautiful, and if we expect no marvels, nor any slight of fairy, however desirous we are, we do not hold it. Time lost to plunge into the enchanted forest, and in its magic half-gloom grope for, and perchance grasp dryad draperies, or be trapped in the filmy webs of fancy which is spun in these shadows for unwary mortals. Standing in dream-girt Broceliande of 100 legends, its shadows mirrored by dim mirrors that may never reflect the stars, one feels the lure of Britanny more keenly even than when walking by its fierce and jagged coast menaced by savage grey seas, or when wandering on its vast moors, where the monuments of its pagan past stand in gigantic disarray. For in the forest, in the heart of Arthurian story, the shrine of that wonder which has drawn thousands to this land of legend, who, like old Wace, trusted to have found, if not elfin marvels, at least matter of fantasy conjured up by the legendary associations of Broceliande. But we must beware of each step in these twilight recesses, for the Faeries of Britany are not as those of other lands. Harsh things are spoken of them. They are malignant, say the forest folk. The note of Britanny is scarce a joyous one. It is a bitter sweet and a sad chord struck on an ancient harp. The Faeries of Britany are not the friends of man. They are not good people, the wee folk. They have no endearing names, the gift of a grateful peasantry. Cold and hostile, they hold aloof from human converse, and, should they encounter man, vent their displeasure at the interruption in the most vindictive manner. Whether the fairies of Brittany be the late representatives of the gods of the elder day, or merely animistic spirits who have haunted these glades since man first sheltered in them, certain it is that in no other region in Europe has Mother Church laid such a heavy ban upon all things of fairy as in this strange and isolated peninsula. A more tolerant, ecclesiastical rule might have winged them to a timid friendship, but all overtures have been discouraged, and today they are enemies, active, malignant, swift to inflict evil upon the pious peasant because he is pious, and on the energetic because of his industry. The end. Very interesting how we can sort of think about going back to those days and how it's talking about being in the mystical forest of magic, and you can just imagine how different the land was, because it wasn't like it was now. It really was wild and free. What it would be like. Thank you for listening to this episode, and many blessings. Wysteria, energy, twister.